And everybody cheered and they went crazy. And then about a half an hour later, black smoke came out. That never in history has that happened. That the white smoke came out and then the black smoke.
What if I told you that one of the most powerful Christian films ever made was never just a film? What if I told you that The Passion of the Christ wasn't just breaking box office records, but breaking the boundaries between our world and something far more sinister? Lightning strikes, unexplained injuries, crew members collapsing, atheists converting overnight, and a silence from those involved that persists to this very day. This is the story Hollywood buried. The story of what really happened when Mel Gibson decided to cross lines that perhaps should never have been crossed. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew about this film. The vision that consumed a man. In 1998, Mel Gibson was living the Hollywood dream, Academy Award winner, global superstar, the world at his fingertips. But behind the glittering facade, Gibson was drowning. Addiction had its claws in him. Depression was eating him alive. Success felt hollow, meaningless. Then, something happened that would change not just his life, but the lives of everyone who touched this cursed production. Gibson fell to his knees in desperation, reconnecting with his Catholic faith in a way that bordered on obsession. He devoured the Gospels, studied ancient texts, and immersed himself in the mystical visions of Anne Catherine Emmerich. And from this spiritual awakening came an idea so radical, so uncompromising, that it would terrify Hollywood executives. He wanted to show the crucifixion exactly as it happened. No Hollywood gloss, no sanitized version for mass consumption. Raw, brutal, authentic. The film would be shot entirely in Aramaic, Latin, and Hebrew. No English, no concessions to modern audiences, just the pure, unfiltered story of Christ's final 12 hours on earth. When Gibson pitched this vision to every major studio in Hollywood, the response was unanimous: absolute rejection. They called it commercial suicide. A subtitled, R-rated religious film with no stars? Impossible. But Gibson wasn't deterred. In a move that stunned the industry, he mortgaged his own future, investing $30 million of his personal fortune into production and another $15 million for marketing. If this film failed, it would destroy him financially. Yet for Gibson, this wasn't about money. This was a divine mission, and missions from God, as he would soon discover, come with a price, the casting that sealed their fates. Gibson's approach to casting was as radical as his vision. He rejected every A-list actor in Hollywood, believing their fame would overshadow the sacred story. Instead, he sought unknowns who could disappear into their roles. Jim Caviezel, a devout Catholic with a handful of supporting roles, was chosen to portray Jesus. When Gibson offered him the role, he delivered a chilling warning: "You'll never work in this town again." Caviezel's response sent shivers down Gibson's spine. We all have to embrace our crosses. The irony was haunting. Caviezel's initials were J.C. Jesus Christ. He was 33 years old during filming, the exact age of Jesus at his crucifixion. Coincidence? Or was something far more mysterious at work? The set where heaven and hell collided. Production moved to Matera, Italy, an ancient town carved into rock that hadn't changed in 2,000 years. The massive set, including a full-scale recreation of Golgotha, was built without digital shortcuts. Everything had to feel authentic, timeless, real. But from the very first day of filming, something was wrong. The weather became inexplicably erratic. Clear mornings would suddenly turn to blackened skies. Sandstorms would erupt from nowhere. Powerful winds would topple equipment worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Crew members began reporting strange experiences, sudden waves of emotion during filming, unexplained dizziness. Some would break into tears without warning during the most intense scenes. Even Gibson, known for his laser focus on set, was seen stepping away to pray or openly weeping between takes. But the supernatural events were just beginning. When lightning strikes twice. During the filming of the crucifixion scene, the impossible happened. Jim Caviezel, hanging on the cross, was struck by lightning. The bolt left him with a bitten tongue and cheek, and later required multiple heart surgeries. But here's where it gets truly terrifying. Lightning struck again on the same set, hitting assistant director John Michelini. This was his second lightning strike during the production. 2 lightning strikes on the same film set? Meteorologists called it statistically impossible. The crew called it something else entirely. Caviezel's physical suffering became legendary. During the scourging scene, a whip accidentally tore a 14-inch gash across his back. The cross he carried dislocated his shoulder, and his screams of agony in the final cut were often real, not acted. Hypothermia set in during the frigid crucifixion shoots. Bruises from the makeup couldn't be distinguished from real injuries. Some days, Caviezel's pain was so intense that he couldn't tell where his acting ended and his actual suffering began. The conversions that defied explanation. The spiritual impact on the cast and crew was unlike anything ever documented in film history. Luca Lionello, a lifelong atheist who played Judas Iscariot, converted to Christianity after filming Wrapped. He described the experience as feeling the presence of something divine and terrifying. Crew members reported nightmares that felt more real than waking life, fevers that couldn't be explained by medical professionals, sleeplessness that lasted for weeks. After particularly intense filming days, some began studying the Bible during breaks. Others sought immediate baptism. The set had become a place of pilgrimage, a sacred space charged with an energy that defied all rational explanation. But for every conversion, there seemed to be an equal and opposite reaction. Some crew members refused to speak about their experiences, as if they had signed a pact of silence with forces beyond human understanding. The phenomenon that shook the world. When The Passion of the Christ premiered on February 25, 2004, Ash Wednesday, it shattered every prediction. Gibson had bypassed traditional Hollywood marketing entirely. Instead, he went directly to churches. Pastors screened early cuts and built entire sermons around the film's message. Church groups booked entire theaters, transforming movie screenings into spiritual events. The numbers were staggering. $23.5 million on opening day, $83.8 million over the opening weekend, a record for February. By the end of its theatrical run, it had earned $611 million worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing R-rated film in history. But success came with a price darker than Gibson ever imagined. Jewish organizations accused the film of perpetuating dangerous anti-Semitic stereotypes. Critics called it the most violent film ever made, with audiences fainting in theaters worldwide. Some emergency rooms reported increases in heart attacks during screenings. Yet for millions of viewers, the film was transformative. People reported physical healings, spiritual awakenings, and life-changing experiences. Churches used it as an evangelistic tool, and it sparked an entire genre of faith-based filmmaking. The Curse That Followed. The film's impact on its creators was profound and lasting, and not always in ways they expected. Jim Caviezel's career stalled almost immediately after release. Despite his powerful performance, major roles dried up. Some whispered he had been blacklisted for his association with the film and his outspoken Christian faith. Yet, Caviezel expressed no regrets, calling his role a divine calling that was worth any earthly sacrifice. Mel Gibson's life took an even darker turn. After the film's massive success, his 2006 DUI arrest included anti-Semitic remarks that destroyed his reputation overnight. Scandals followed scandals. Leaked recordings revealed disturbing behavior. Many believed the backlash was more than professional. It was spiritual warfare. Gibson himself hinted at supernatural consequences, suggesting that tackling such a sacred subject had opened doors to forces beyond his control. Many crew members retreated from the spotlight entirely. Some found deep faith. Others refused to discuss their experiences, as if the events were too sacred or too terrifying to revisit. When journalists tried to probe deeper into the set's supernatural occurrences, they encountered a wall of silence that persists to this day. The legacy that transcends time. 21 years later, The Passion of the Christ remains more than just a film. It was a spiritual crucible that left invisible scars and profound transformations on everyone it touched. For those who lived through the production, it wasn't just movie-making, it was a journey into the intersection of art and the divine, where the boundaries between the earthly and the eternal dissolved completely. The film proved that Hollywood had underestimated the hunger for authentic spiritual content. It reshaped an entire industry and touched millions of lives worldwide. But the question remains, was The Passion of the Christ just a movie? Or was it something far more powerful? Something that opened a doorway between worlds? The silence of those who experienced it firsthand suggests a story that transcends rational explanation. A cross they continue to carry, a secret too profound or too dangerous to fully reveal. What do you think really happened on that set in Matera? Were these just coincidences? Or did Mel Gibson and his crew tap into something beyond human understanding? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story sent chills down your spine, smash that like button and hit subscribe for more hidden truths. Hollywood doesn't want you to know. And click that notification bell. Because trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Until then, keep questioning everything.